Hello, hello, hello. Today we're talking about intonation, which, as you know, is the melody, the music of the language. So we're going to be talking about rising tones, falling and rising tones, and falling tones, and how we use them day to day in the English language. So we're going to be going over statements, WH questions like, how are you? What are you doing today? Yes/no questions like, do you love me? Tag questions like, you love me, don't you? Exclamations like, what a marvellous day, darling. Commands like, clean your bedroom. And then greetings like, hello. Before we get going with the video, we just want to tell you really quickly about an online language learning platform that me and Charlie love. We've been using for years, and they're called ITALKI. ITALKI. ITALKI is amazing, not only because we're on there, but because they have thousands of native and non-native teachers. So you can learn with a native speaker like me, or you can learn with someone that talks your language. On ITALKI, you can be assured that you will find a teacher who meets your needs. You'll find a teacher who meets your needs, because there are teachers who specialise in pronunciation, in IELTS preparation, in conversation, or simply in functional English. It's affordable, there are teachers as cheap as $10 on there, and it's convenient. It's easy to use, Just download Skype, sign up for your lesson, and you're done. And because we are now partners with ITALKI, they've given us a discount to give to you guys. So, click the link in the description box of this video, sign up for your first lesson, and then ITALKI will give you $10 of ITALKI credits to spend on your next lesson. You can even book a lesson with me or Charlie if you want, because we're on there. Hope you enjoyed that, guys, and make sure you leave a comment and tell us how your first lesson was. Intonation's a funny thing, really, because we do have rules, but there are lots and lots of exceptions. And everyone kind of has their own way of speaking and using tones, which makes them unique. It makes us all unique. So there's kind of no right and wrong with English intonation. But what we're going to do is go over some of the basics and give you some tips that will help you to explore intonation on your own and figure out your own way of using intonation to sound like a more natural speaker of English. So let's start with statements. A very simple one. This is a pen. This is a pen. So we can see that at the end of that sentence, on the what we call the nucleus of the sentence, which is the most important content word, and the place where we see the nuclear tone fall. So the pen is the most important word in the sentence, so that's where we're going to see this tone falling down. So this is a pen. This is a pen. So the default tone, as you can hear, is a falling tone. It's a falling tone. It comes from a kind of mid-tone down to a low tone. This is a pen. But sometimes it's a bit more complicated than that. Sometimes we want to imply something that you don't necessarily want to say, but you want to let the other person know that you mean something else. So maybe someone would say to you, hey, when are you free for a drink this week? And then you would say something like, well, I could do Wednesday. Well, I could do Wednesday. So do you hear the tone there? Wednesday, Wednesday. So there we've got a full rise. Wednesday, Wednesday. Now what does that mean? What are we implying here? Well, it's implying that you can't do other days, but Wednesday is the day that you could do. Well, I could do Wednesday. Let's think about another example now. Maybe you did a job interview and you get home and your partner says, hey, how did the job interview go? You could say, well, I spoke well. Well, I spoke well. Spoke well. So there it's going, ba-ba, ba-ba. What does she mean here? Well, she means that maybe the interview didn't go so well, but she managed to speak clearly, right? So maybe another part of the interview didn't go so well. She's implying that by using this tone. Well, I spoke well, ba-ba, ba-ba. Another very common time when we use this full rise is when we're not finished telling a story. So we want to let the listener know that we've still got things to say. For example, I was walking home and I came across a very strange guy next to the park. He stole my bag and he ran off. So I'm using the implicational full rise. So he came up to me, he took my bag, and then he ran off. So I'm finishing this story on a full, but before that I'm using a full rise to let them know I'm not finished speaking yet, wait your turn. So that's the implicational full rise. Another thing to keep in mind with statements is that when you are making a list, we will use a rising tone. Again, this is to let the listener know that we've still got things to say on the list. So you could say, oh, I'm going to go to the shop, I'm going to get some apples, some grapes, some bananas, and a Twix. Apples, grapes, bananas, and a Twix. So ba, 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 ba-da-ba. Okay, let's go on to WH questions. So these are questions which start with a question word, like how, what, where, why, things like that. Now the default tone for a WH question is a falling tone. It's a falling tone. So we're going to identify the nucleus of the sentence, which we will do by starting at the end of the sentence and finding the last content word, and we're going to go down. What's your name? What's your name? Name. Name. Where were you born? Who is your father? Who are your cousins? Where am I? But to be honest with you, we don't always use a falling tone because it sounds quite serious and quite businesslike. So we can use an upward tone, a rising tone, to sound a bit more gentle, kind, friendly. Where are you from? What's your name? Where were you born? How's the weather today? What's the time? When did you arrive? Sounds more sympathetic. It sounds like you care. So if you want to make it sound like you care, then go for this rise at the end when you ask one of these questions. But be careful where you are doing this rise. You have to identify that nucleus. So here it would be angry. Angry is the key word here. Why are you angry? Why are you angry? And don't get confused by the part before the nucleus. It's okay if the tone is different then. And what you will see if it's a rising tone, you will actually see a dip in the tone before the nucleus. So, why are you angry? So there we're seeing a dip so that we can come down for the nucleus. Why are you angry? And that's the rising tone. Angry. And then what about if it's the opposite and it's that definitive falling tone? Why are you angry? Why are you angry? So actually we see there that the tone goes up and then comes down. Why are you angry? Why are you angry? So give that a go and see how polite you sound. Okay, on to yes-no questions. So the default tone for a yes-no question is a rise. It's an upward rise. So quite simple. So repeat after me. Are you ready? Is that the time? Are you okay? Have you been here long? Long? Have you been here long? And you're going to find a rising tone, whether it's a positive question or a negative question. Are you going to the meeting? Won't you be at the meeting? Haven't you finished yet? Have you finished yet? Don't you like your soup? Do you like your soup? But we're not always using a rising tone with yes-no questions. Sometimes, if we want to be a bit more serious, we might use a falling tone. So listen to this. Did you get the reports? Did you get the reports? Reports. Were you on time today? Were you on time today? Or imagine if you are in a police station and they're questioning you. Did you take the money? Did you take the money? Did you rob the bank? They wouldn't say, did you rob the bank? They'd say, did you rob the bank? Were you in the town centre at 7:30? They wouldn't say, were you in the town centre at 7:30? No. It's too kind, it's too polite. This needs to be a falling tone there. It's serious. We're not being kind anymore. We're questioning you. We're gonna catch you. So there we go. We can use a rise if it's just a normal yes/no question. But then if you want to be a bit more serious, then we go for a more falling tone. Another time when we use this insistent fall, as we call it, is when we're playing a guessing game. So if you need to make lots of guesses to try and get the answer to a question. Let's say you're playing 20 questions and you're trying to find out who the person is that the other person is thinking of. So you might say, is he from Spain? Is he older than 40? Is he black? We also use this fall when a speaker repeats a question because the other person didn't hear it. For example, did you come far today? Sorry? Oh, I said, did you come far? Did you come far? Sorry? I said, did you come far? Did you come far? Okay, now we're going on to tag questions, which are great. We use them all the time in English. I use tag questions literally every single day, don't I? And interestingly, we can have a rise or a fall with almost all tag questions, but the meaning changes significantly. So let's have a look at that. So I'm going to read out a couple of tag questions, and I'm going to do them all with a rising and a falling intonation, and let's see what the difference in meaning is. The answer is 20, isn't it? The answer is 20, isn't it? It's raining outside, isn't it? It's raining outside, isn't it? You love me, don't you? You love me, don't you? They've forgotten, haven't they? They've forgotten, haven't they? So you may have noticed this, but with a rising tone, the speaker is genuinely asking for information. It's raining outside, isn't it? In asking that question, I really want you to tell me whether you agree with me or whether it is or is not raining outside. I want to know that information. But if I say, it's raining outside, isn't it? This is with a falling intonation, and it's kind of like a statement because the speaker is merely asking the other person to agree with them. They assume that it is raining and they kind of expect the other person to agree with them. It's raining outside, isn't it? We might also add this kind of tag question with a falling tone after an exclamation. So you might say, oh, it's a magnificent day, isn't it? Or, oh, she's absolutely beautiful, isn't she? She's absolutely beautiful, isn't she? But we can use these tags with a falling tone in quite a clever way. If you are trying to exercise control over another person, maybe you're a parent or a teacher, and you want your students or you want your children to obey you, you can use a falling tone on a tag question to force the other person to agree with you. So it's quite a strict thing to do. For example, Mummy, can I have some cake? We'll have to see, won't we? Why did I only get a C in my exam? Because you didn't try hard enough, did you? Mummy, can I have some money? Well, me and Daddy will see about that after we get your exam results, won't we? So what about if you're explaining something to somebody and you want to make sure they've completely understood or they are understanding what you are telling them? What we can do is use a rising tone with a word like okay or right. For example, so you take a left at the station, right? Left or right? Bad example. So I'll meet you at the station at 7:30, alright? So I'll meet you at the station at 7:30, alright? The station which is just around the corner from the bank, yeah? Got it. So we're using okay, right, alright, yeah? We're using that upward tone to confirm that the other person is understanding what you're saying. And you'll find that they automatically go, yeah, or no, can you explain that again? So I had a boss, I used to work in sales, and he used to say, yeah, at the end of everything. So he'd be like, so, we're gonna go to the presentation, yeah? Harry, you're gonna make the slideshow, yeah? You're gonna park up, yeah? And then I'm gonna meet you in the hallway, yeah? And then we're gonna go in together, yeah? And then I'm gonna do the whole presentation, yeah? And you're just gonna sit there and do nothing, yeah? Yeah, Andy, yeah. Yeah, sounds great, mate. Yeah, sounds fucking great. But what about if you don't hear? What about if you don't understand what another person is saying? Well, we can use words like sorry, pardon me, what's that? And again, we're going to be using that rise. Sorry, sorry, what's that? What's that? Pardon me, pardon me, pardon, pardon, sorry, Okay, now on to exclamations. Exclamations are nice and simple. The default tone here is a full. It's a definitive full on the nucleus of the sentence. So let's go for surprise. Oh my God! Oh my God! So it's starting really high. God! Oh my word! Oh my word! She's absolutely gorgeous. Oh my God, she's absolutely gorgeous. Okay, what about anger? Anger. I absolutely hate you. I hate you. I'm going to kill you. I'm going to kill you. Kill you. I'm going to stab you. I'm going to stab you. Okay, excitement. Oh my word. We're going to Disneyland. We're going to Disneyland. Mum, we're going to Disneyland. I got an A. I got an A. An A. So nice and simple. We're always going for a full and start it nice and high. She's absolutely beautiful. She's absolutely beautiful. And play with it a little bit. Have fun, you know. Try and make your intonation as colourful and interesting as you can, because it will make you a lot more engaging to listen to. Okay, so let's go on to commands. Commands, when you want to give an instruction or a warning, you want to tell somebody to do something. So the default tone for this is a full, just like with the exclamations. For example, your daughter's going crazy and you want to say, stop that noise. Stop that noise. Be quiet. Shut up. Tell me the truth. Ba-da-ba-ba. Ba. Baba. Baba. Shut up. Baba. But here also we can use that implicational full rise that we talked about earlier, where it goes ba, ba, and this is when we're giving a warning, because we want to imply that someone is going to have maybe an accident by saying something, by giving some words of caution. So imagine your friend is going out on their bike and you want to tell them to wear a helmet. Wear a helmet, helmet, wear a helmet, and the implication being there that if they don't wear a helmet and they fall, they could really hurt themselves. They could die. Wear a helmet, otherwise you could die. Drive carefully, carefully, carefully. Drive carefully. I would study tonight if I were you. Be careful, 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 Baba, Baba. But what about if someone is really worried and you want to give them an instruction, but in a very caring, kind way? For example, oh my God, I'm going to fail the exam. I can't do this, I can't do this. Calm down, it's okay. It's okay, don't worry, don't worry. So there we're using a rising tone to show that we care. Take your time. There's no rush. There's no rush. So it's a good way to be polite, caring, and encouraging to somebody who's having a hard time. So if we use a falling tone, it's a firm, authoritative, strict command. If we use a full rise, it's an urgent warning. And then if we use a rise, we're being friendly, we're being caring. So let's read one sentence using all three different tones and see how it sounds. Wear a helmet. 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 Okay, finally, and this is one of the most important ones, I think, we're going to look at how we can use different tones in our greetings and our interjections. Both falls and rises are possible here, but they have a slightly different attitude to them. So if we use a full in a greeting like, hello, it sounds maybe a bit formal. Hello, good afternoon, how are you today? Sounds quite formal. If you want to make it less formal, more friendly, personal, a bit closer, we can use a rising intonation, like, hello, good afternoon, how are you today? How's it going? Goodbye, good night. So, falling, bit stricter, more business-like, formal. And then rising, friendly, personal, nice. And then another really important one, if you need to get someone's attention, we can use the full rise, the implicational full rise. For example, excuse me, excuse me, excuse me, Mr. Giles, Mr. Giles, Mr. Giles. That tone sounds nice. So that tone sounds nice and friendly, and it's inviting for another person. If you just say, excuse me, it sounds really, really harsh. Excuse me, excuse me. So with that full, sounds like you're about to tell them off. Excuse me, why did you just hit that girl? But then that full rise, nice and friendly. Excuse me, how do I get to Big Ben? So that's all for today's lesson. This is an introduction to intonation. I do hope you find it useful. I didn't want to go into too much depth with all these different concepts. So it's just an introduction, and there will be more videos related to this where we can go into more depth and get a bit more advanced with it. But thank you very much, and I hope you found this useful. See you later.